I have your permission?
Yes.
Vandami Bhante. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Dhamma session. And thank you so much, Bhante, for accepting the invitation to give a Dhamma talk today. The topic is Back to Basics. Venerable Bhante Shanta Sobna was born in September 1975 in the sacred city of Anuradhapura in Sri Lanka. He received systematic, comprehensive education in the Theravada Buddhist tradition in Sri Lanka for 12 years, along with the practical aspects of Buddhist Vipassana meditation and meditative life. He was ordained as a Samner in the Theravada Buddhist tradition on July 1st, 1988, and attained the status of a fully fledged Buddhist monk on July 6, 1997. He started learning samatha and vipassana meditation as well as yoga from a very young age. He has mastered hatha yoga and martial arts. He studied acupuncture and traditional Chinese pressure point systems under many practitioners. Furthermore, he studied energy, work, and healing as practiced by ancient Buddhists. Bhante has taught Hatha Yoga, healing arts, and Buddhist meditation in India, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, United Kingdom, France, Netherlands, Germany, Italy, Switzerland. Currently, he lives and practices in Los Angeles, California. Bhante's practice facilitates exploration of the void or no self phenomenon in life. Having gained knowledge and deeper spiritual understanding, he hopes to help fellow human beings gain deeper spiritual and mental insights. He also wishes to share his experiences of these subjects and spread spiritual wellness so that others too may experience the highest form of human intellect. Please welcome Venerable Bhante Shanta Sobna.
Thank you very much, everyone. And I really appreciate having this invitation for me to do this session today. So thank you very much, especially Archana and coordinating this, and also AANA organization in United States. So let's get into the subject. Okay, so before we start, I do the prayer. So you can just keep close your eyes. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed one, the exalted one, the fully enlightened one. So, dear friends, today in this discussion, I have this topic called Back to Basic. So before we start, I would like to bring some housekeeping items for this Zoom session. And also it's kind of like having some ground rules. Because now that also included to the topic, back to basic. So when it comes to nowadays, so we have this kind of discussion. And in the ancient time, people used to have relationship to people. And I don't know you know or not, in recently, and with this science and technology, there was a huge kind of like interference in the society, and at the same time in government level, now they already planning people to have relationships with the screen. So they already they came with some kind of methods, rules, especially for children, to have a healthy relationship with the screen. Why? Because more than any other time, we just spend our time with the screen. So then, when it comes to this session also, so we all have to have a better relationship with the screen. And for that, I don't know who you are and where you are and what you keep doing, because you can just on this screen, maybe you would start to keep doing something else. Maybe you eating, maybe you lying down or watching TV and listening, or maybe you're just doing something else. But for this session, to build up a good, healthy relationship with your screen, it's better that you connect with this discussion 100% with the very conscious decision. And at the same time, it is not kind of like that you have to have a intention, oh, there is a monk, keep talking. It's not kind of like that. Because if we go back to the basic level of our communication, like sometimes our students come to temple and they make this kind of like a tea, or they prepare something and they come and they offer it, and then we have a kind of like a very friendly discussion. So in that kind of environment, we get the best out of the both of us, from me and at the same time whoever come to us. So then it is better for all of us to go back to that kind of relationship when it come to specialist study. Just imagine whoever went to Buddha in that time, or if they heard there is a monk or enlightened master. Even some people, without seeing who's the Buddha, they may heard the word from far away from another person, oh, there is a Buddha in that city. Just hearing that, they left everything and then start to go towards the Buddha. And even whoever come to Buddha, and the Buddha didn't ask many questions like nowadays. Just appearance itself build up the connection. So then when it go into this discussion, in the very first level, back to basic, always remember yourself. 3 years, 2 years, 3 years back, we had a totally different lifestyle. And then nowadays, it's completely come to unknown way of existence. So that's the very nature of life, and we don't know what will happen tomorrow also. So then, whenever you have opportunity to have a discussion in person, get the best out of it. So wherever you go and whatever the environment and wherever the place that you live, or maybe you have a monk or the priest or the guru or whoever around you, that especially when you want to have a kind of like a conversation or the discussion, as much as you can, Put your effort to be in person. The very reason, because that is the best way to have a wisdom. It's a wisdom come out of the communication, community, communication, and beyond the communication, there is a communion. Get connect beyond the words and deeply understanding the meaning. So it's not going to happen most of time just by listening. Listening is important, but when we have a clear conversation each other, that is where we get the best. So in this environment, let's try ourselves, our best, because this is what we have. So then it is your responsibility yourself. Put your effort and get the best. So then when it comes to that, the very first thing, having open mind, it is a very challenge nowadays. Because when we go into the history, there was a time period, the people, everybody looked for wisdom. Everybody looked for some kind of spiritual development. And as example, like during the Buddha's time, everybody into spiritual path and everybody into what is the truth. They were in a kind of like a voyage. They were in a kind of like a research. They all into kind of like a journey to look into their own life and see what is the meaning of this life. For that, they had the more clear, wider, open mind. But today, even though we live in this information era, when it comes to ourselves, when it comes to a person, the most of time we see, it is very difficult for us to have an open mind. Even though so much information around us, end of the day, we caught up, we get tangled, we become very limited, and we build up the prison according to not the wisdom, but what we feel or what we believe. So if you look very carefully, what we believe doesn't work. Whatever you can believe, but end of the day, that doesn't work. So that is the very nature of life. But still, we are keep believing. We are keep believing. And it doesn't matter whatever around us. If you look very carefully, if you become honest to yourself, most of time, out of this all, even maybe listening to this talk, or it doesn't matter, most of time through this journey, end of the day, we nourish our self-centered point of view rather than change it. That's what most of time we do. We all try to find something and we find it, we find things, but still, listen this very carefully. Look into yourself. Most of time, we nourish our point of view, but we don't see that our point of view had a history. It's not happened just by mistake, or it is not only for today, that whatever you believe, or so far you came in this journey, today who you are, not by mistake. You have a history. So that history built by out of your self-centered view. So rather than change it, or rather than challenge it, or rather than try to grow through it, most of time we nourish it. It is totally different thing. Developing through something or bringing the growth through something and maintaining and enrich something totally two different way. So that's why having open mind is a art, and at the same time it is a skill that you have to practice. So then you have to be very careful. And out of this all learning, and we believe, oh, I learned something. I learned something. It is good for me. It is good for me. Oh, that's so good. Maybe we hear the Dhamma, but still, we never challenge, or we never bring a clear-cut argument to our own point of view rather than we nourishing it. So then yourself come to a point. Can you be open? So when it comes to that, back to basic. So in the beginning, like when you come to this world, Pabassaramidam bhikkave chitta. So your mind was so pure. Your mind was kind of like a crystal clear. And your mind is kind of like sun. And your mind is kind of like a drop of water and can flow into any direction. Your mind, from the beginning, when you come to this world, the very first day when you born, just imagine the very first hour that you born. You like the wind. You are ready to go into any direction. But by the time today, what happened to you? You became very limited to many things. Through the culture, traditions, following and believing systems, and the language, and out of our environment, that our parents and our schooling system and our education system. So this or everything shape you into some kind of model. So now you are trapped in that model. So back to basic. Can you go into that very first level of mind? You are capable. So that's why in every day, just imagine, like when it comes to situations. So in my personal life, and sometimes situations happen, and in that situations, I was thinking, oh, it happened to me. Why it happened? Oh, I was always try to struggle. So then I went to a meditation center. And in that center, there was a bench. And I was sat and just looking at the mountains. And then there was another very old monk. And he used to always cleaning. And he came to me and asked, what happened? And he just asked, what happened? So I have to tell now. So I told him, this is what happened. Oh, now I think I don't know what to do. So then he told me, so look at that mountain. And that mountain is there, but beyond that, this sky is so unlimited. So you are not that mountain and you are the sky. And when I heard that, from that day to today, it's like now, like more than 30 years. From that day to today, I'm not afraid for anything in my life personally regarding any situations. I don't have any fear because I'm not limited to myself when a situation comes. So then yourself, whoever you are, I know that your life always go through up and downs. It's not a kind of like a, unchangeable life. It's always up and down. Situations come. And sometimes you are in situations you can't get help. No one around you. And even sometimes we can't even, express, or we can't bring it to words. And sometimes situations come and we can't get out of it ourselves. So then always remember, you are bigger than that situation. Because that situations, even though it is real, it depends on the cause and effect related to thoughts. When you change your point of reference, that situations will change. So then back to basic, always remember yourself that whatever the situations come to you is not you. It is a situation. You are more bigger, you are more higher than that situation. So always have ability to go into mind beyond your thoughts. And that is one thing. Another thing is, don't categorize. Don't try to hold it to any method, especially, when it comes to religions. So we are living in this 2023. We have many religions around us, even in the future, things will come. And always appreciate and always try to be humble in front of others, whatever they believe. Never go into kind of like an argument. You can have a very fair discussion. You can bring many arguments. I had it. I always go into many other believing and following systems. And we have very good friendship. But what I want to tell you, especially with this discussion, when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, so try to be very clear with your own path and have a very open mind. And then how it related to this discussion, you have to go back to basic. So when it comes to this phrase, the go back to basic, it's kind of like a process of simplifying. And by the time things become complicated, and sometimes things go out of the way, and sometimes it is not effective or it is not efficient. So in that level, we use this phrase back to basic. That means go back to the very fundamental qualities and reduce the complexity and simplify the method and get the best result out of that. And so it's kind of like go back to track. And sometimes this train, when it derail, you know what happens. So when it comes to our spiritual practice, or even in our day-to-day life now, it's kind of like a derailing. It's go out of the track. And sometimes we slowly losing the very core fundamental meanings and the values, and at the same times understanding. We now understand something else. And you go and ask from people. Whatever this is very available to all of us. And us. And people argue when it comes to philosophy. People argue. And it's kind of like when it comes to philosopher, and most of people think, oh, philosopher, oh, he rejects something and he brings with a lot of arguments. And when people like philosophy and go into that, what the most of time they say, oh, this is wrong. Oh, this is wrong. So like that. But when it go into the very beginning of the word, if you look the very meaning, whoever love for the wisdom, love for the knowledge, we call philosopher. So when you love for the knowledge, it is not the knowledge that what you believe. So then other things also knowledge. So then if you are a philosopher, ethically, you can't criticize someone else believing or following system. And when it comes to meditation, and especially when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, or the fundamentally that we practice as bhavana, bhaveti kusala dhammi aseviti vaddeti bhavana. So when it comes to it's cultivation of your mind and with good profitable skills. And then there is no way any kind of greed, hatred, or the delusion can increase in you when you start to practice meditation. But most of the time, even when we go to the meditation centers, and even we have some kind of discussions, and especially the technique sometimes, oh, we follow only this, or we don't follow that, or we practice this way, or breathing should be like this, or breathing should follow like this way. Many, many, many methods. So, but the thing is, rather than releasing the mind from the views, methods, patterns, nowadays we are more than any other time caught up and get tangles and into very limited mindset. So then we become we become weaker. So that's why this machines technology, we need more and more and more help out of this. Why? Because the very fundamental level of human mind is weak. Why? Because it's not open. It's getting closer, closer, closer. How it get close? When you get tangled, when you become very limited to any view, you become weaker. Remember that. And maybe you take many other methods to be strong with physically, but if you are holding to any mental view, you are weak. So then most of the time this society and try to give you some kind of things to hold. And if you know the science and the technology, this both come together, and they work very different way now. And they hold you and you don't know how they hold you. And I think in this panel, very few people know how the society or the other companies hold you. It's not your birthday. It's not your location. And it's not that your other informations. And recently, this TikTok CEO and had a discussion with this TikTok. In that, he mentioned how they track people. And they track people through the thumb. And how? And when you use this, and if your thumb hold a certain video for 1 second, 2 seconds, they know you like it. And when you move your thumb, and they say they never, because they thought, and the people believed that when you look at the screen and they track your pace, they take the information from your pace and they can kind of like keep it as a secret information to track you. But it's not like that. It's go with the thumb. And so just imagine, and you are held by something you don't know, and by the time when you become very limited with that, you become very weaker. So then, more than any other time, we have very challenge to be conscious. So when it comes to the human mind, the very basic fundamental quality that you carry in you as a human being, being conscious. So then look into yourself. Are you conscious? So in this very Zoom meeting that we know we are having this meeting. So that is, you are conscious about this. And when you have a conversation with your husband, wife, children, friends, and family members, are you aware that this is my husband, this is my wife, this is my children, this is my parents? Why? You have to be. Because when it comes to back to basic, in our day-to-day life, when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, remember, of course, we talk about the Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truth, and all other teachings, and more than 84,000 sutras. Beyond this all, when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, one of the most important part is it talk about the power of the human mind. So when it comes to the Dharma, that is where it starts. How you know that? How we can say it? Look at the prince, before he become the prince, Siddhartha, he was in the heaven. And from there, he came to human world to attain to Buddhahood. And from here, we try to go to heaven, you know, just imagine. From there, he came here. And this human mind is so capable to understand things in many different ways. But most of the time, what happens when we become very limited with one thing, it is not that just you become limited to that things, that you put this entire humanity, the very nature of the very fundamental quality of the humanity to one thing. You make it limited. So remember always, when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, it's always power of the human mind. If you don't believe the power of human mind, you will never understand how this Dharma works. So then always go back to that and believe the power of human mind. And from there, when it comes to our day-to-day life, whoever around you, and be conscious and know yourself to who you talk. And sometimes I have seen husband talk to wife, and it's kind of like they don't think that end of the day they're going to sleep at the same place, under the same roof. And sometimes when they get mad, they kind of like start to talk and fight like, enemies. But end of the day, and sometimes they say very bad words. And when I heard that, I asked, how you can talk like that? After you talk like that way, how you going to see that person face again? So that's why always remember, we talk about the Dharma. We talk about meditation. We talk about spiritual practice. And we have long history with the religions. And people invest their life for their spiritual practice. That is the highest. But always you have to remember, you will never going to find any supernatural beings or the aliens or any kind of that unknown living beings out of this practice, especially Buddhism. There may be another ways that you can find, like practicing mantra, or like different kind of black magics. Maybe sometimes people say, oh, I saw that, oh, I saw this chakra, this color, or this person. Maybe, but we have to appreciate that. But out of the Buddha's teaching, it always our inner transformation we have to bring as a human being. When it comes to us, how I can do something better for me and for others. And out of my living, how I can get the best and how I can provide the more comfort to other people and other living beings. So then, when it comes to the very basic level of Buddha's teaching, always remember, it's not about attaining to some kind of supernatural powers. It's not about you become like a spiritual zombie. You start to act like you are not belong to human beings. You start to kind of like somebody like very unnatural. No, this dharma or this practice for human beings to understand it and communicate to people through their own language and transform through people, not transform through something else. But we always like to cut the people and drop the people and reduce and reject and resist the people, and always try to find our own kingdom inside our head and believing, oh, this is me, this is me. No. Look, go into the very fundamental teachings of the Buddha. And when it comes to very first community of Sangha, the 60 monks, what the Buddha said, charita bhikkave charikang bahujana hitaya bahujana sukhaya. Look today, and you go to the bookshop or you go to everywhere, you see self-help books. And at the same time, how you can become more better for you. There are many teachings. But look, 2,600 years ago, Buddha built up the community. Go to others, not to just yourself. Go to others and help others. Why? Bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukha. Why you have to go to others and help others? Because most of time, we have to understand, people need help. That help is not a kind of like a deep, the kind of like a something that we can give hand to hand. Maybe you think, oh, help, oh, give a lunch packet, oh, help, oh, give this, oh, give help, oh, give that, oh, I give this, that, you become happy. That is not the help. Because deeply, both you and me in a journey, it doesn't matter you will believe it or not. We all are in a journey. In that journey, we have two tasks. One is recovery. We all try to recover. Why? Because you and me all got hurt. We all are hurt. And somehow we all like to find something. That's why even you are just sitting here and listening to this. Because you look for something. So then from today, remember, maybe you can't go into to more larger community or scale, but always remember, when it comes to your life, husband, wife, children, parents, friends and family members, neighbors, they need help. That help is not that what the help that we do around this outside world with the material things. That help they need with the loving kindness, compassion, more deeper. It's kind of like being there and trying to more listen. And in that way, you help them to recover. And always remember, don't focus to unknown people. And don't depend on kind of like the idea of perfection. There's nothing like that. There's no something perfect. If something perfect, you know what happened? It cannot exist. So existence means the imperfection. Remember that. So don't quote up the idea of perfection. Don't look for that. It's not there. It's not about something. Don't look the perfection from your husband, wife, children, parents, brothers, sisters, friends, and family members, or your partners, or from your loved ones. It's not there. And have the flexibility. That is the most highest power that you carry in your mind. Adaptivity. When you become very conscious, that is what you gain. Not to develop kind of like a preconditioned mind or developing any kind of like a format to become a machine. No, you are so capable to adapt to any situation. So keep that ability in you. So when the idea comes for you to hold it to perfection, what happens? You become weaker. So then the second one, the quality that make you weak, you look for perfection. You caught up in the idea of perfection. So remember, there's nothing perfect. There's nothing. You will never find that. You will get hurt. You will cry. Not in this life. Eons by eons, you will come here, will keep crying if you look for perfection. If you get perfect, you know what happens? You get out of. That's why once you attain to the enlightenment, you're done. Even lay person attain to enlightenment, if that person become a monk within 7 days, that person cannot exist. How possible that? Because journey done. Anymore, you can't. There are sometimes, once you win the game, no more you can run that twice. No. Because you won the game. You've done it. You can't anymore get into the pool. So that's why always remember, other people try to recover. Help them. So you don't need to help unknown people. Help your husband, wife, children, parents, brothers, sisters, friends and family members. Why? Because most of the time we get hurt out of them. Unknown person, if they blame to us, if they say something, it's okay for us. We can forget it. But how about the very close people, whoever tells something to us? It go to the very bottom of your heart. And it's kind of like, take a knife and, little by little, it's try to get into the deeper into your bonds. So be nice. Being nice doesn't mean it's like you always, be good to them. No. But yourself, you have the intention to help them. So that is one thing. And other one is, we all are in a journey of discovery. We always try to find who we are. So when it comes to the back to basic, how we can merge with this phrase. When it comes to the Buddha's teaching, so in the early 20 years, that it had a very one purpose. So after that, it became kind of like a very different. So that's why before we go into that, I want to mention, we all are here to learn something. So remember that what we see today, nowadays, little by little, and it's kind of like even that we follow the Buddha's teaching, we start to separate. And sometimes they ask, Bhante, what do you follow? Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana, what do you follow? Why? Because sometimes they can't track me. I sometimes change my appearance. They can't follow who I am. And sometimes they ask, Bhante, what do you follow? And when I was in China, and one monk, and I hate Theravada. No? So go back to basic. In the very first early the years, 20 years of the Buddha's teaching, and in that level, they had only one purpose. So don't try to categorize yourself, or don't try to, resist other things. Learn from everything. And learn from the Theravada Buddhism, and learn from the Mahayana Buddhism also. There are a lot of beautiful teachings. And learn from, there are many things from the Vajrayana Buddhism. Learn from that. And maybe there are some sutras. You can't find that teachings in the Theravada, but in the Mahayana tradition, you can find it and recognize it. And it's more easy for you to understand from that level of examples. So like that, always have a very clear, very plain mindset when it comes to your practice. So don't resist. But nowadays, it's sometimes, even within the monks or the meditation practitioners, and whoever follow the Dhamma, or whoever listen to the Buddha's teaching, they are the one who very typical, very typical. very hard sometimes. They're not ready to bend. They hold it to something. They're thinking, this is it, other everything wrong. There's no such a thing like that. Even sometimes, just imagine the Theravada monks, in between that, how it's a mess. It's a mess. And even in the Mahayana tradition, also the same. It's a mess. They're told there are different things. Even in the Vajrayana tradition, also there are things. So in between that, inside that and in between that, there are a lot of things. So then when it comes to us, so don't get into that. Remember yourself. Okay? You are not to empower that whatever happening there. Your task should be to get the best out of the teachings and become more better person yourself and transform yourself and change yourself. Not to be the same, change yourself. We're going to get into that. So back to basic, that is where, when it comes to the very 20 years of the Buddha's teaching, they had one purpose. In early Buddhism, and if you go to the most of the Buddha's, the direct sutras, and it talk about self-realization. Self-realization, that's it. Nothing about other things. It's mostly self-realization. Why you have to realize the self? Because at that time, that was the biggest idea. There should be something. Still, that people believe that. Still, people have that question. There should be something. And that may be somewhere. So when it comes to you, remember, in head to toes, your body, there is nothing, there is no any place, single place that you can find. Unchangeable, permanent, that something can hide there and can stay invisible. No, there's nothing in your body. It's all change. And there's nothing permanent in you. And that all change. And that whatever as a body that you experience in this physical level, within another, from this point to another 7 years, anything not going to be same. It completely become renewed. So then around you, the same. And then remember, nothing belongs to you and nothing unchangeable. So don't hope for that. And be ready for that. And I learn to accept it. Don't try to fight for that. Don't try to argue for that. Don't think, oh no, it's me, I like it, oh, I love that, oh, because of that, it's going to be there for me. Don't think like that. There's nothing. It doesn't matter. You come here and you sacrifice many lives yourself, and there's nothing you can find permanent. Within yourself, from outside also. So accept that. So then when it go into self-realization, rather than seeing the change in this very conventional life for you and me, the one of the important thing you have to remember that you when it comes to your name, your form, you know who you are, you know how you look like, and you carry the name, and you have some kind of identity. So that your own self-identity, you believe as you. So identity means You match it with something, and if that both come together, if it is come together, then it's going to become your identity. That's the very meaning of the identity, the matching. You match always to something. And you go somewhere, just give me your identity passport, and they look and you, okay, it's the same person, okay, your identity. But when it comes to deeper, it's not like that. I tell you a secret. Inside you, there is an unknown person. You may never saw that person yet, but you keep eating, feeding, thinking for that person, and maybe doing all other things. You giving everything for that person, but you never saw that person yet. That's why Buddha said the self-realization is important. That's why you have to realize yourself, who you are. Basic level. Very first level, that who is inside this, because underneath your skin, there is an unknown person. That means if I simplify a small little bit, there is a dark side in you. And, look, when it comes to this Zoom meeting, you prepare for that, or maybe you go to a wedding, or you go to a party, you're going to meet someone, you prepare for that. You appear. That appearance is not you. You hide a lot of things. Let's imagine suddenly, one of friend called, hey, I'm in front of your house, can I come in? Maybe you hide a lot of things under the bed, under the chairs, and you hide here and there. It's quick fix. So like that in your life, most of time, you hide a lot of things in you. It's not happened today. Through this sansaric journey, it's keep happening. So now this dark side, it's strong. It's all in all of us. This dark side, it's very difficult to get out. The thing is, if you don't clear this dark side, remember, the journey going to keep happening. So then yourself, it is your responsibility. Get into this dark side and clean it. So that another way it called bring the light to you rather than keep that darkness in you. So deeper inside us, there are a lot of things we don't know about us, but still we keep repeating, keep repeating, keep repeating. Another way we call it, we are maintaining that dark side inside us. So if you keep maintaining that, remember, by the time you are the one who going to get into many difficulties, troubles, you may change the place, change the environment, change the people, change the situations, change the time, change the space, but still you are going to be in difficult situation because you are the one who carrying that darkness in you. Why? Because that darkness is kind of like magnet, keep bringing you to it. Same like this, you can do it. When you have like a hurt, when you hurt, you know that. You go out, you can do it. When the day you get hurt, you go to somewhere, maybe park or shopping mall, or maybe you can get into a bus, or maybe somewhere. And someone will, most of time, will talk to you. And that people who ever talk to you also have the hurt in their heart. Remember that when you get hurt your heart, and if you keep it, it slowly bring the connection, whoever hurt, and they feel so comfortable around you. Maybe you don't see that, but that's how it is. They feel so comfortable. And then by the time what happened, you get mad, it's not going to become very friendly conversation. You become mad and they become mad, and that madness going to develop a different kind of energy. And that's why when you start a kind of like something wrong in the very beginning, if you get hurt, the whole day sometimes you go wrong. If you meet all the wrong people and you get into fight with all the wrong people, that's how it happened. So it is your responsibility. So development of the heart or the cultivation of the heart means what? You get out of that dark side of you. So that means you are not maintaining anymore. That dark side you can use as the soil, as the ground to get roots. How you can do that? Go back to basic yourself and see your own life, what you experience. And then you will see. You need the change. You cannot go like this. So you have to understand that. So bring the ability for yourself to listen to you. And that is the one of the important thing that we missing ourselves, because sometimes we are so busy with YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and all TV channels, news and everything. We listening to others, and always phone call, we listening to others, listening to others, listening to others. And we missing in a certain way, listening to us. So in the beginning, I mentioned we all got hurt and we have to listen to others sometimes. But remember, you have to listen to you too. And so that is what one of the way that practicing Dhamma means. So recognizing yourself, understanding what is happening in you. So get out of this dark side, don't maintain it. How you can do that? So by the time you all are matured, by the time you will see you have some kind of mistakes in you. It's 100% you know that. Maybe not, it's not all the time, but you know it is there underneath your skin. If you know that, bring a very conscious decision to clean it. Work for you, work for that. You can change it. Work for that and never consciously repeat that. And that itself become the mindfulness. And you not allow that dark side to become powerful. And you slowly get out of that character. And no one knows, but you know. So slowly, little by little, get out of it. And then you can be really happy about you. That happiness is not a kind of like gaining something and, achieve something and become happy. It's not like that. It's more deeply, you become more humble. So that's what you need. So back to basic, in one thing is that. And when you go into that, what happens? That is the beauty. That's oh my goodness, that's the beauty. This is what happened when you get out of your dark side. As you know, let's go back to the Prince Siddhartha. And in the palace, and he went out a few days and he saw this old person, this poor signs, sick person, dead body, and then sannyasi, or like monk. He saw this all. In the middle of the night, in that palace, and even in the lay life, he reached to the kind of like a pinnacle. He became a father, and it's a kind of like a validation for a man in the Eastern countries, and he already ready to become the new king. And this Everything is there for him to maintain this conventional life. But no one told him, this is not the way. And he himself took a decision to say no to that. And he took a different way without telling to anybody. Just imagine, without telling to anybody, he left the palace. It's not happened by mistake. He took a very conscious decision. That's how you can know that, because he didn't tell to anyone. He planned it. That's mean what? It's not by mistake. He took a very conscious decision. How people can do that? That's the magic. That is what you need. Because sometimes you say things, you want to do things, and everybody know that. You can't take conscious decisions. When sometimes before you come to the bridge, you cross it, then you become unsuccessful. One of the things that to become unsuccessful in this world, the people around you, because sometimes a lot of people don't have the capacity to hold your success. So then before you reach that, what happened? They say, no, you can't, and they pull you down. So that's why look at the Prince Siddhartha. This is what happened when you get out of the darkness of you. When you work in you to become a better person, and when you get out of all the unprofitable skills, this is what happened. You are capable to get a very conscious decisions by yourself. This is what called you get into your gut feelings. That is what you need. That is what the Buddha means. So then from that place, he went to Alarakala. And the Uttakarama's the Buddha means Uttakarama is the father. His son used to maintain the temple, the school. Uttakarama's Putta. And it's also like a huge, school. And these both places. And offered him, okay, you are the best, take it. And he told. But himself, no one guided him. He told, this is not for me. This is not for me. And then went to the 5 ascetics. And all these 5 ascetics told, this is the best ascetic practice, and this is where you can gain the Buddhahood. This is what we help you, you will be with us. And he used to do all the things. And he used to do all the crazy things that other people used to say. But finally, he understood that is not for him. Look, that is what the Buddha. So who you are then? When you say Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, what you mean by that? And have a person to be with your gut feelings. When you know this doesn't work. You know this is not for you. You know that. But when it comes to in front of others, you accept it. Do you destroy your life? Not somebody else. Because you are the one who accept thinking, believing, other people will hurt, other people will feel bad. I want to say yes to this because otherwise. You are the one who destroy your life. So don't do that. Be into your gut feeling. But being with the gut feeling doesn't mean you caught up in your emotions, because when you get out of your darkness, there is no way that you can caught up in your emotions. So because that emotions, everything become like soiled for you to become more better, strong person. And that's why you feel, you know what this is. And then you accept it. And this is what in the, this conventional life, we call it gut feelings. That's mean what? What you feel deeper in you, you listen to that. So when it comes to tranquility meditation and the Vipassana meditation, not even the tranquility meditation, in the Vipassana meditation, in a certain level, you come to direct perception. Direct perception means what? With your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, whatever, perceive in that very moment when the consciousness merge with that, right away you recognize. In between that, there's no thinking. So that means your moment of experience become your wisdom. There is no mental formations or the sanskara or your history. Come to the middle of your moment and deal with the moment of experience. There's no deal. There's no discussion. There's no comparison. So the direct perception. Your appearance, whatever, itself become the wisdom. So that is the, in the meditation level, just imagine that in between the moment of experience, there's no thinking about it, because itself you know what. Now go back to the gut feelings, conventional. You, when something happens, you feel it, you be with it. So the same thing. Same thing, but you come through different ways. It's not the same, but it helps you to get into that deeper level of Vipassana understanding. So in conventional level, some people get paralyzed when it's a gut feelings. They can't handle it. They don't have strength. Why? Because they are debtors. They always go behind something or somebody. They are emotional debtors. They're always believing, following. They want something, always need something, like children, always need something to their hand. So like that, sometimes ourselves, we need always something to be there for us. If you always depend on something, remember, you always go behind it. You're chasing something. And you go behind something, you keep running something. Don't keep running. You have everything in you, start to cooperate with it. You're already there. How you know that? So then remember, go back to the basic, go into your dark side and clean it and get into your gut feelings and be with it. That's how the Prince Siddhartha attained to the Buddha. Go and read the character. It's not, I'm not making anything here. I'm just, what I see, I'm just telling you. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But this is, this is what I see. You also can go and see, from the Prince Siddhartha character, that whatever his body language, the very simple, plain character, whatever in the history, if there in anything else you find, good luck for you. But this is what I found, And then he went to practice himself. And so then when it comes to that very fundamental level, back to basic, very fundamental level, you are here. Remember how you are here. So now you came to your gut feelings. Now you are strong. You settle down yourself. So what? That know thyself, know yourself very clearly. Once you have gut feelings, now you don't have the dark side in you. You are ready to go deeper into you. You came here because of the karma. You're not born here by mistake. Remember, you are born here because of karma. Our life will exist following the karma. When the karma ends, we can't be here. So if there is karma, we're going to be there. So now, if you want to go a little bit more deeper, and how you can stop this, then because most of time in the world, in the Western world, people are looking for, it's kind of like how to stop death. how to stop kind of like this aging. But what the Buddha taught, how to stop becoming, and how to stop this birth, not the death. We are going to die. So forget it. But after you die, can you not born again? That's the key point. That's what the Buddha, you can do that. How you can do that? Stop doing karma. So what is the karma means? It's not something keep chasing behind you. It's not like a kind of like a dark demon somewhere, or it's not a whatever you do morning to night, somebody keep writing, behind you, record everything. It's not like that. No. Karma means your intention. So when it comes to that, look, when you start to do something, there is an intention in you. So now you have power because you have gut feelings. So gut feelings means you have very conscious decisions to take by yourself without telling from anybody. So see the Prince Siddhartha himself, he took all the conscious decisions. So that is where you can change your karma. So how? Learn to take very conscious decisions inside you. No one knows. Don't tell to anybody. Follow the Prince Siddhartha, and don't tell anybody. You don't need to tell anyone when you take a conscious decision. Why? Because it's not going to work with others. When they are not conscious, if you take a conscious decision, how they can be agree with you? But if you are depending from their validations, you screw your life. You put you into discount mood. Don't do that. When you come to very conscious, this is, you do it. That's how you can move forward, and that's how you can help others. If you go, remember this, I repeat it again. When you take a conscious decision, if you ask it from unconscious people, you put your consciousness to discount mood. Don't do that. That is where you gain the power of life. That's where you see the beauty of human mind. And so that is where you start to see the very depth. Now you see your consciousness, that intention. So intention holds this everything. Now you go into that, and in the very fundamental level, go back to the very bottom level of basic. There are few things. Chitta, Chaitasika, Rupa, Nibbana. So that is this all. So Chitta means in the surface level, all the memory. And the Chaitasika is your karma. Rupa is the result of that. And now beyond that, Nibbana. So in the very bottom level of basic level, you have that. So then what you need to do, don't tangle with your thoughts, and don't get into your dark side, and get out of it and be with your gut feelings, and then the surface level will change, and then you have ability to go into take a conscious decision, and take that conscious decision, and then you will get into the depth that the Nibbana level is there. Get it? But out of this all, you know what happened? The Buddha lived, many, many years, and then end of his life, he ready to pass away. And then all the monks came and asked, Venerable Sir, what the final advice you can give? And what the Buddha taught? Appamadena sampadeta. This heedlessness. And another way we can mention it, it's a kind of like a little different, but most of all of us can understand it's kind of like a procrastination. You know that all. You will do it tomorrow. You can do it, of course. You know, because you know you can do it. We always postpone. No. And we think, we're reasoning with things. And we're reasoning, I am right. I can do it. I know how to do it. And then you calculate the time, the space, the people, environment, situations. You go with that all. You think that everything going to work the way you want, and I can do it. Oh, put it, tomorrow I will do it. Day after tomorrow I will do it. Or like that. Within 5 minutes I can do it. Or kind of like that. But remember, this life is belong to time. Time irreversible. It's not going to deal with you. So then, this heedfulness, the inner laziness, get out of it and develop the heedfulness. You have the energy, awareness, strength, ability. When something comes, you do it. You don't postpone. Procrastination. You don't deal with situations, environment. You don't reasoning with your laziness to something. You do it. And in day-to-day life, as ordinary person, and with your husband, wife, children, friends, and family members, and you don't compare, you don't have the comparison, you don't deal with them. You don't assume. You don't think, I have time, I will do it tomorrow. You come to do your best with taking conscious decisions, listening to your gut feelings, changing your intention 100% with the clarity to do the good to yourself and to good to others. You're done. And I'm done. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can go.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Bhante. Any of the participants, if you have any question, please raise your digital hand. We can unmute you and then you can ask your question, please. Pankaj, do we see any question in the chat box?
No, Pai, we don't. I'm just kind of trying to see if there were anything that showed up on